Okay, so in this video, we are going to talk about the overall structures that you can use when you are guiding meditations. So first, I want to say a little bit about how to start a meditation. It can be very nice to have a formula that you just use every single time you start guiding a meditation. If you have such a formula, you don't have to think about it every time. And over time, if you use the same sentence every single time you start guiding a meditation, then the sentence itself will start holding a certain power. It's like when you utter this sentence, your body will already know, now we are heading into meditation. It can be something very simple, like you can just invite people to sit comfortably, close your eyes, and take a few breaths. Or a friend of mine, Simon Kohn, who's very good at guiding meditations, he will often use the sentence, sit with softness in your face and let this softness drip down and become a feeling in your body. I really like it. It has that poetic feeling to it, and it's a very nice way of starting a meditation. You can say something like, sit comfortably and remind yourself that there is nothing you need to do. Claudio Naranjo would sometimes start his meditations by reminding people that while they were meditating, they could sit and be as useless as a tree stump, which is another way of reminding people that while they're meditating, there's really nothing to do. The last one I've mentioned here is sit comfortably and simply allow time to pass by. Again, this is one that I use myself often, and it invites people into this space where there's nothing to do. You just sit there and time passes, and that's all. For starting meditation, it can be good to start speaking at a pace that is sort of close to normal conversational speed, like how I'm speaking now. And then as you go through your formula, you might slow down how you speak. You may say, okay, so sit comfortably, close your eyes, take a few breaths. And as you sit here with your eyes closed, remind yourself that as you meditate, there is nothing you need to do. Okay, so of course, if you have formulas for starting meditations, it is also very nice to have formulas to end meditations. So some of the formulas I use would be something like take a few breaths, move a bit, and open your eyes. Or Velusha, one of my teachers, you would often say something like breathe yourself back to a place where you can open your eyes. Again, I really like this formula for rounding off a meditation. It has that poetry to it that I really enjoy. Another one that I've put here is when you in a moment open your eyes, you can do so while staying in touch with the inner state you are feeling now. I like this invitation. It kind of invites people to take that meditative state with them into their everyday lives. So I really like this one. And just like with the formulas for beginning a meditation, formulas for ending a meditation, you can use the pace and tonality of your voice to gently guide people out of the meditation. If you speak too softly, you will notice that sometimes you will open your eyes and like half of the people you are guiding are still sitting with their eyes closed because at this time they're just hearing the pace of your voice. They might not pay attention to the words, and so they just continue in their meditation, which is nice. But if you have plans, then it's better to use the pace of your voice to sort of guide people out. So if you're speaking very softly, you're talking about sensing your body, feeling spaciousness in the body, something like this. And then when it comes to rounding off, maybe you want to say, okay. And you can gradually begin to move a little bit, take a few breaths. And gently come to a place where you can open your eyes. So it doesn't have to be very dramatic, just that little bit bringing the pace back towards normal conversational pace. So what are you going to do between the introduction, between the initial formula and the ending formula? Well, there's a couple of structures that I use again and again, and you can use one of these structures if it's a shorter meditation, or maybe you want to use several of the structures combined. That's up to you. So one of the structures we've already mentioned is just the body scan with the felt sense, or the body scan where you combine a felt sense with a related concept. So you might move from the feet to the head, or from the head to the feet, or however you want to move through the body. Here the anatomy of the body becomes the structure of the meditation. The journey through the body, you can say. Another way of structuring the meditation would be to say, well, talk about maybe a certain felt sense, but that certain felt sense you can then connect to air, to liquid, and to solid. For example, if I want to speak about warmth in the body, I might start with talking about just this inner sense of warm air flowing through the body. You can feel the warm air, like the warm air in a sauna or something like this. Like your whole body is a sauna, and you have this wonderfully relaxing, warm space inside of you. And then as the meditation progresses, you might say that this warm space can kind of condense a little bit and turn into liquids, like a beautiful warm liquid inside of your body. You can talk about how the warmth heats up your blood, and your blood becomes this carrier of warmth through the body, how you can feel the warmth flowing, the warm blood flowing in your veins, in your arms, in your legs, and so on. And then you can make it even denser, and you can talk about how the warmth can solidify into, like, you can feel like a warm rock. So this is, you can play with these three different forms that matter can exist in. Another structure that you can use is you can talk about, instead of scanning the entire body, just talk about three centers. You can talk about the head, the heart, and the belly. The sequence depends on what you want to do, so it doesn't have to be head and then heart and then belly. Maybe you want to start with the belly, end with the head. Maybe it makes more sense for you to first do head, then belly, then heart. Depends. But here you can talk about the felt sense and the concepts, because some of the concepts will be more emotional, and you can connect those to the chest center, to the heart. Some of them will be more action-oriented or more body-oriented. You can connect those to the belly. And some will be more about how this felt sense affects your thinking and your head. So again, if you use the example of the warmth, you can start by talking about feeling warmth in the belly. And maybe you feel like when you feel that warmth in the belly, you feel this, you have this engine, this energy to go to do things. And then you can feel the warmth in the heart, and maybe when you feel the warmth in the heart, that warmth turns into passion or to courage. And when you feel it in the head, it turns into this expansive way of thinking, where you consider things that you would never have considered before, something like this. Another overall structure you can use is you can talk about you can start from the outside and then moving in. So maybe you start by talking about how you feel the warmth around you, then you feel the warmth touching your skin, and then you feel the warmth gently moving into your body until it reaches like the marrow of your bones, or however you want to move into the body. Or you can talk about inside out. So maybe you feel that spark of warmth in your belly, and then it spreads out from the belly and out and it touches your skin and it comes out through your skin, through your hair, through your feet, and spreads to the room around you and eventually spreads to the whole universe. That's a very nice way of guiding from the inside out also. Or of course you can guide descending or ascending. Another structure that you can use is that you can simply track your own experience and translate it into guiding sentences. This is a very nice, it's like an improvised structure. So maybe you will start by having a few images that work really well for you. So you're talking about maybe that warm engine in the belly. Very nice. That gets you into the state. And so once you've spoken about that engine and that warmth and that heat in your belly, you just notice what happens to yourself. Maybe what happens to yourself is that you feel a little more awake. And then you can just talk about how this warmth in the belly might bring some wakefulness to you. And then you go, what's the next thing that happens? And you feel more awake, and then you notice that your body kind of straightens up a little bit and expands. And you can say, as you feel this warmth in the belly bringing this aliveness, you might notice how your body expands a bit and you feel bigger in your body, and so on. This might not be the first structure you want to use because you might worry, what if nothing happens? But as you become more comfortable with guiding meditations, I can highly recommend this. Just sit down, have a nice introduction, and then just see what happens. It often brings an authenticity to the guided meditation that is really exquisite. The last structure that I want to talk about is not so much a structure, it's more like when you're using one of the above structures, maybe you want to talk for a little while, but then when you really feel now you've set the atmosphere, it can be very nice to just have, towards the end of the meditation, before you do your rounding off formula, just have a couple of minutes where you don't say anything. So you've guided people into a certain space, and then it can be really nice to just leave them there for a moment. If you're guiding people who are not used to meditation, it might be good to say a little. You can say less, but just that they hear your voice helps them focus. If you're talking to people who are more experienced in meditation, they will absolutely love that you give them this silence where they can just enjoy the atmosphere that has been created in the group by everybody sort of following your guidance, everybody tuning in to that felt sense, to the same felt sense, and then just sitting together in silence and enjoying that atmosphere that you have created together. As mentioned in the beginning, you can combine these structures, but I want to say less is more. Okay, so the exercise I like you to do after this video is to guide a 10-minute meditation where you use just one of the above structures and see how that is. And in the next video, I will talk about some really useful language patterns. So enjoy the meditation and see you in the next video.